So good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
So we're going to wrap these speeches up today. We're going to start with more speeches on Monday. How's it going out there?
Pretty good. And yourself?
Oh, pretty good. I'm sort of falling apart, but I'll get people to put me back together again. You saw my announcement, right? They're like,
The grading?
yes. Yes. I will get caught up. I've just been the latest. I have a problem with my leg or legs that we're trying to diagnose. I think I've talked about that here before. But now they want to pull my tooth out. So that's just made things a little bit. Okay. I went to the dentist a year ago. And of course, I don't know if you know this, but as far as I can tell, dentists don't do anything anymore. They just refer you to other dentists. So the dentist sent me out to an endodontist last year, and they did a root canal, my very first root canal, which didn't suck as bad as I thought it was going to, by the way. But the endodontist said I needed to go to a periodontist. And I said, okay. But I didn't hear anything from my dentist, and you can't just go walking into a periodontist's office. You need a referral. So I come back this year because my tooth is hurting, another tooth. And the dentist sends me back to the endodontist. And the endodontist said, but we told you about this last year. And I said, but my dentist didn't send me to a periodontist. And the endodontist kind of looks at me and says, well, he probably should have. So I get on the phone with my dentist and I say, hey, dentist, how come you didn't send me to the periodontist when we could have saved this tooth? And he said, well, I didn't know you needed to go to a periodontist. And I said, but my endodontist just showed me the report that he sent you that said, refer me to a periodontist. And then my dentist went, well, okay. All right, I'll refer you to a periodontist. And I said, but at this point, I'm pretty sure I've lost the tooth. And he said, well, it doesn't look that much worse than it was last year. So now I'm having a big fight with my dentist, only you can't have a big fight with the dentist because then you don't get the dental work you need. So I'm really mad at dentists right now. I just want to say that out loud to somebody. I am so mad at dentists right now. And my dentist is going to pay for an implant, damn it. Yes, Fabian, thank you. I'll appreciate it. There's definitely room in here to move. I'm like, damn, I have all my teeth. I'm not ready to start losing teeth on top of it all. Stephanie doesn't trust the dentist. I'm just like, how does this stuff happen, man? It's like everything has gotten so impersonal and so automatic. Yeah, I'm like, And it's so hard to fix things when they go wrong. Yeah, I'm with you, Stephanie. I'm with you. It's just like everything is call a help center that's in some other country somewhere. Even my dentist now, I feel like that. I feel like, what was I supposed to do? Was I supposed to call my dentist and say, oh, by the way, did the endodontist tell you I needed to go to a periodontist? Isn't that what dentists do? So yeah, I'm mad at my dentist. I am really mad at my dentist. But I still got to go through with the periodontist so I can set up this, thing where it says, yes, it was worse last year than it was, or worse this year than it was last year, and da 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 da. Anyway, so that's been taking up a lot of my time, plus the hip problem, if it's a hip problem. And I am going to be grading like a mofo this weekend. So there's that. But we have some speeches to do today, and they are over here. Let me make sure that everybody's here. Is Delfino here?
Good morning. I'm here.
Good morning. Moya, are you here?
Here.
And Caleb? Caleb going once, twice. Atsidi. Camille, are you here? Camille? Okay. All right, group 7. Kristen, are you here?
I'm here.
How about Kanani
I'm here.
and Caesar
Here.
and Julia?
Here.
Okay. We started group 7 last time, right?
Yes.
Okay. Let's finish up group 7 and we'll move to group 2. And group 2, I hope your people show up. If you think any of these people are serious about doing their speeches, this might be the time to text them if you like them. Just saying. And let me put myself together. I'm losing my mind, but it was Kristen who's going next, right?
Yes.
Thank you. I just saw her. There she is. So let's see what you guys have to say.
Oh, there's construction, so. So,
It happened.
um, hello. Oh, sorry, right? Okay. Hello, my name is Kristen. And with the good examples that Angel gave us with moving active within sports, I want to talk about my experiences with track. Before track, I didn't really have anything going for me. I would wake up, go to school, and then after school, I would just come back home, take a nap, and barely do any of my homework. I was so lazy. I had a bad diet at school. I would eat hot Cheetos with chamoy at 7 o'clock in the morning between each classes. And also with school comes with mental problems from either drama from school or homework. And so I had a lot going on in my head, and I needed something to get it out to distract myself. So I joined track. Um, Track actually really did help me um, clear everything. I had to focus on one thing and one thing only, and it did help me. I started by running 1 mile. By that 1 mile, I was dying, but I continued, and I was able to go from 1 mile and dead to 4 miles and being okay. The benefits helped me from keeping my mind on one thing, as I said before. I also helped build my body, and I didn't need to have any materials, any weights. It helped build the stamina and create breathing techniques. Um, when creating breathing techniques, it really opens up your lungs. Um, and but you could do all more of that, not just by running, but other like hiking. And Julia will introduce you and will introduce herself and talk about hiking. Thank you.
Julia, hang on for a second. And I'm ready when you are.
Okay. Good morning, everybody. My name is Julia, and as my group members have been talking about, I will be talking about hiking and how it's helped me keep active. Even though I don't hike every day as I would like to, whenever I do, I usually start at 4 in the morning. And I know you're probably like, oh, that's such a drag waking up early, but I feel like when it comes to doing something that helps me or I really like, it's worth waking up that early in the morning. And I like to beat the crack of dawn before the sunrise comes up so I could see the beautiful sunrise, because obviously when you go hiking, let's say to a beach, a mountain, or even a park, you could see the different ways that your surrounding or your view looks. So it's beautiful to see it in the morning when the sun is rising. It also helps me mentally and emotionally, whether it's getting a lot of things out of my head and just forgetting my problems, even for like just a second. It helps going either with friends, family, maybe even alone. And it just changes my mood and helps me have a better mood throughout the day and just stay calm and be happy throughout the day. With that, it helps me stay active. And instead of just laying on my bed, watching YouTube, TikTok, Netflix, it helps me keep my body moving, even though it's just walking or hiking up a steep hill. It really helps me, I guess, maintain my body active instead of just laying down like a couch potato every day. I will be passing it on to Kanani, who will be talking about yoga. Thank you. Good morning, everyone. My name is Kanani, and I will be talking about why yoga, in my opinion, is the best way to stay active. Um, the first point I'm going to be getting into is that yoga is a easy way to incorporate into your daily life, given the fact that it's just something that you can do anywhere, whether it's in your home, in your backyard, maybe at the park or the beach. It's not something that requires a lot of stuff to do. And all you really need is comfortable clothes and maybe even a bottle of water. My second reason why I feel yoga is a great way to stay active is that it really helps with your mental health and your overall energy. Um, from personal experience, whenever I feel anxious or I just feel like I can't deal with whatever's going on in that day, I learned that yoga kind of helps with that. As you're doing yoga, a lot of it is like regulating your breathing. And when I regulate my breathing, I realize that I focus more on my breathing rather than whatever I have going on in my head. And that really does change the way I feel after, and I feel a lot more energized and a lot more ready to start my day. The last point I'll be making is that yoga is a great way for your physical health. It really helps with balance, flexibility, and strength. A lot of these poses can be difficult, and the more that you do certain poses and you stay in that position, it really builds up your strength. Um, I will now be passing it on to my group partner, Caesar, who will be talking about the gym. Thank you.
I believe she said Caesar was next, right?
Yes.
Thank you.
Do I start?
You're whenever you're ready, I'm ready.
Okay. Good morning, everyone. Today I'll be talking about the gym and my personal experience with it and why I think it's a great way to stay fit and healthy. So what I'm going to be talking about is, of course, my personal experience with it, and also the ways it has helped me stay physically active and physically healthy, and also how it's affected my mental health, how it's improved me. And lastly, I'll talk about a few things about the gym for those who are just starting. So during the pandemic, obviously, we were all on lockdown. We were all staying inside, social distancing. And of course, a lot of people were way less physically active. And especially for me, which I wasn't very active before, during the quarantine, I became even worse. So, um, so I just started going to the gym very recently. I'd say maybe 2 months ago. And in those 2 months, going to the gym, it's improved my physical health, as in I don't feel as tired anymore because I've stayed inside for over a year. Um, I feel more refreshed in the morning. Also going to the gym has made me improve my eating habits because I really want to stay active and healthy. And to stay active, you need to have a proper diet. And for my mental health, it's the same story. Um, Being alone, of course, in isolation isn't good for anybody. Of course, you can talk to people online, but that's not as great as in-person communication between people. And going to the gym, I felt like it cleared my mind. And also going with my sister to the gym also really helped because she was there to support me. And it was a great experience. And I feel like right now I have better, I'm more confident. Um, yeah, more confident. I I feel a lot better. I'm not as depressed as I was during just sitting there in lockdown. And yeah, and some tips about the gym for those who are just getting started. Make it work for your schedule. So if you have a really tight schedule, you could put aside, it could just be for an hour, and you could really get some work done for your body. And you'll still see the effects of being physically active. You will see yourself lose weight. And of course, you need a diet as well. So you'll see yourself lose weight, gain a bit of muscle, and you'll feel good. You'll feel great. And that concludes my presentation about the gym. So I talked about how it's impacted me personally, how it's improved my physical and mental health, and a few things about the gym that I wanted to share. And that is the end of our presentation about fitness. So we went over, we went over sports, running, hiking, yoga, and lastly, the gym. And we talked about, well, my group members talked about how it improved them or why they think it is an effective way to stay physically active. And we hope that this encourages more people to stay active and, go for a better lifestyle. Thank you.
All right. Do we have Caleb in the house yet? Or Yatsidi or Camille? Just checking. Okay, Moya and Delfino, can you handle this without them?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay. I don't know where these people went. Have you heard from them about today?
No, and they didn't show up last class, so
Oh, none of them showed up in the last class?
no.
Okay. All right. Fine, Moya. I'm ready when you are.
Okay. Hello, everyone. My name is Moya. Also in our group is Delfino. We will be talking about effects from the pandemic. So every single one of us has been impacted by the pandemic, we all know. And today I'm going to be talking about outdoor activities. Delfino will be talking about negative outcomes. We obviously had a couple more topics that would make our topics match more, but we'll go with it. So outdoor activities became more popular because of people trying to live healthier lifestyles, a lot of us feeling trapped at home, and also because we're sort of forced to, with most businesses closing, everyone had to like get creative. The pandemic got a lot of people to slow down and think more about their health. We all know a lot of people lost their jobs, either temporarily or permanently. So a lot of people had time to more focus on their health and maybe getting healthier to avoid getting so sick if they did catch COVID. From personal experience and talking to others, I know a lot of people were going on more hikes and more walks, sort of clear their head, get out of the house. It could sometimes feel isolating too if you live alone and you're just stuck at home by yourself indoors. Being in nature too can also be very grounding and humbling. I personally started roller skating during the pandemic, and like it's so fun, like going roller skating on the beach and in parks. In all honesty, people are pretty much forced to only do outdoor activities. Everything shutting down obligated people to get creative, indoors and outdoors, since we're all stuck at home. The lockdown definitely brought families either closer or farther apart. We heard about all the divorces that happened, and I'm sure it was really hard when people were in like abusive households. So going outdoors could be an escape, or even bring families closer, like they could do more bonding activities. So to wrap things up, healthier lifestyles, feeling trapped at home, and not having a choice are all reasons outdoor activities have been favored during this lockdown. Thank you. So now going to Delphina.
All right, Delfino, I'm looking for you here.
Yeah, I'm ready. I'm just waiting for your cue.
Okay. And I'm ready when you are.
Good morning. My name is Delfino. The pandemic has affected our lives in more ways than just one, but today I would like to talk about the negative effects. You know, we saw the world come to a halt. Supplies and demand was drastically affected by this. We saw common goods, you know, they were no longer found in the store. The demand for those goods skyrocketed while our supplies dwindled. I remember going to a store and it was like a war zone. And it's not because people were hoarding, but because production slowed down, and in many cases, it shut down. And this leads me to my second point, unemployment. We saw unemployment skyrocket. According to the LA Times, in the month of April, only in California, 4.8 million cases were opened. Now, this doesn't include the cases that were open or that will be open. You know, it kind of put a magnifying glass in our scenario, our situation in the United States, that many Americans live their lives paycheck to paycheck and they don't have a savings account. And that kind of leads me to my third point, which was homelessness. A lot of people lost their house. I read an article about Gertrude Desmond, and it said that your house and your job are tied hand in hand. If there's instability in one, it causes instability for the other. So if your job is unstable, this will cause instability for your home. If you get evicted, or if you have to move for some reason, this causes instability for your job. And that just put a huge magnifying glass on our situation. You know, one of the main reasons Gavin Newsom was being recalled was because of the high taxes, high rent, the homeless situation. And sorry, my tablet froze. Those are just three of the topics that I chose to talk about, but not everything was negative. To end our presentation, you know, the quarantine has not only affected our mind, our body, our environment, but its aftershocks are felt to this day. And I would like to end our group presentation with a quote from Zig Ziglar saying, "When you focus on problems, you get more problems. When you focus on possibilities, you'll have opportunities." Thank you.
All right. Well, wait a minute. Did I see Caleb come in?
Yes, I'm here.
All right. And let me see. So you have a speech for us?
Yes, I'm ready.
All right.
Am I presenting?
Hang on, hang on, hang on. You have to have been here to know the procedure here. Uh, let's see, I'm looking for you. Where did you go? There you are.
Okay. All right. So,
Whenever you're ready.
okay. Hello, my name is Caleb, and I'm going to be presenting about the environmental impacts of the COVID-19 pandemic. So basically, this whole pandemic has been going on for nearly 2 years now, and as a result, more people are staying home. And because of that, there's less pollution that is going on around the world. And there's less people who are doing activities. For example, in Italy, there are these canals which used to be polluted with diesel oil, which are now clearing up. And that's a result of less tourism. Now that the pandemic is going around the world, less people can travel and less people are visiting the canals. And that's just one example of how the pandemic affected the whole world. And not only that can either be a good thing or a bad thing. In this case, it was a good thing since there was less pollution and the canals were a lot clearer than usual. And but on the other hand, there's also a bad side to it. For example, because of the pandemic, more people are required to wear face masks to protect themselves from the virus. And because of that, there's been a lot more trash on the street. There's been a lot of disposable masks that were tossed aside and littered on the street. And that could be polluting for the environment. And overall, I would like to say is that although there are good things that can come with this whole situation, there's also a negative side to it. And this isn't any different from the other crises. And that's pretty much all I have to say. Thank you.
And there you go, folks. There are your final presentations. You're getting better. These were definitely better than your first speeches. Yes? No? Maybe?
Yes.
What I saw was that your two things are happening here. It's not unusual. One, you're getting more relaxed up here. You're not as uptight as you were at the beginning of this. And two, you're starting to slip on some of the basics, like entering and exiting, like having a complete introduction and a complete conclusion. Okay, so at the same time that you're getting a little relaxed, you're also dropping some of the pieces. Make sure you get all the pieces in. I like the relaxed part though. That's going well for you. You have speeches due on Monday. Oral readings, where you will find a selection out there in the world, not one you have to write. And you will read it to us, a manuscript speech this time, not extemporaneous, because I'll make sure I got this right. Yes. Because this time I want the focus to be on how you use your voice and how you use your body. And I go into a bunch of videos under oral readings on how to do that. Make sure you look at those and look at the rubric, because the standards are changing. I'm starting to include that stuff in how I evaluate you. And that's why you don't have to actually prepare a speech. You just need to find one and rehearse it. What questions do you have about those oral readings?
Should we be using any specific sources, or does any source work?
I asked you to use something that reflects something about a culture you belong to. But other than that, there is a list in there that says things like you can use a selection out of a novel, you can use poetry, lyrics, a speech someone else has done, you can do a scene from a film or theater, etc. But there is a list in there.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Can we have a copy of it on hand, or we have to try to like memorize it as much as we can?
No, this is a manuscript speech, never a memorized speech in this class. I suggest in the video that you actually print it on paper. Okay, big. And that if you really want to do this right, you then glue that paper to a piece of construction paper, because that way you don't have to mess with fiddling with the sheets of paper. But when you rehearse, be aware that you have to work with that manuscript and make it as invisible as you can.
Okay, thank you.
What else you got? It's gonna save me a bunch of emails next week, or this week, so lay it on me now.
What do you mean in regards to culture? Like just like an aspect of ourselves, or like our nationality or our ethnicity?
I went, you just wrapped up a big unit on culture, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I define it in there. And I say it can be anything, any group you belong to that has a history, that has some rituals, that has its own language, its own subcode. So it could be anything from quilting to skateboarding to car culture to your race or your ethnicity. Any of those are acceptable. I don't want to put anybody in a spot with something they're not comfortable with. But yeah, something that you have some connection, some group of people who, like I say, have a little bit of history. If you think about skateboarding, there's a shared history in skateboarding. There are rituals in skateboarding. There is a whole language around skateboarding. There's even a skateboarding clothes that identify the culture. So you can define culture almost as broadly as possible for this speech. Yeah, but if you want to show off your race or ethnicity, that's fine too. I actually had a really exciting night last night where I had a guy, a dancer, who did Maya Angelou's Still I Rise, which is a piece originally written, I suppose, for cis women. And as a dancer, he just cut loose with it and had a great time. So, you know, he was celebrating the LGBTQ plus culture right there in front of me. Any other questions? I see something in chat here. All right, Lisbeth's got happy to do it. Andrea, yes.
So it's not a speech that we write on our own?
No,
Oh, okay. So
nope.
just find something that describes like our culture and stuff and we read?
Yep. And I'm taking the writing out of this so you can spend your time on how you use your voice and how you use your body. Okay. This is not a speech that's easier. It's just a different focus for your time.
Okay, thank you.
Sure. Anything else? Any last questions here? All right. If you don't have anything else for me, you get to go home early, and I will see you all next week. Bye.
Professor.
Yes. Are you saying goodbye or are you asking a question? Yeah.
I said bye.
Oh, bye.
I have another question. I haven't read like the like the rubric, I guess, for this assignment, but is there like a time limit? Like a time frame
Yeah.
that we need to?
I think it's 3 to 4 minutes, but I'm not sure.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'll take a look at that today.
If you need to put two poems together, for instance, you can do that.
Oh, so we can also use poems?
Yeah, that's what I said. You can use a poem or lyrics or a selection out of a novel or a scene from a film or theater or a speech someone else has done. There's a whole list of them there in the module.